Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, where I cover vampires, werewolves, and other supernatural creatures. In this video, we're going to look at the film Van Helsing from 2004. The vampires, werewolves, backstory, and more. I want to tell you the story of this movie in chronological order so that it's as easy to understand as possible. Let's not waste any time and get started.
It's 450 years ago, when a Transylvanian knight named Valerius the Elder.
The story of Van Helsing starts in 1462. This is when Gabriel first killed Count Vladislas Dragulia. Gabriel was once an archangel, known as the left hand of God. This comes from the real religious text known as the Book of Enoch. Gabriel took on flesh in order to come to earth and reveal prophecies, such as the birth of Christ to Mary. He has fought in many battles through his roughly 2,000 years on earth. Eventually, in the year 1462, is when he killed Dracula. It's not exactly clear why he killed Dracula, but for some reason he took his ring and wears it to this day. I wonder if this means that they had some kind of further history together, maybe even fought together. Sometime after killing Dracula, Gabriel's memories were taken away as penance for past sins, according to the cardinal. We don't know what these sins that he committed were though. One day he was found on the steps of the church with no memory of who he was. The Holy Order took him in and looked after him. They somehow knew that he was sent by God. He has been working with them ever since, trying to regain his memories by doing God's work and killing evil creatures, such as Mr. Hyde. I actually enjoy this sequence, and I think the voice of Mr. Hyde is perfect. It was performed by the late Robbie Coltrane. Rest in peace to a legend.
I think you'll find the view over here rather spectacular.
We learn that Van Helsing is a wanted man, because most of the world thinks he is just a murderer, unaware of his true purpose because it must be kept a secret. As far as anyone is concerned, the Knights of the Holy Order don't exist. This forces him to live a secluded life.
Do you think I like being the most wanted man in Europe? Why don't you and the Order do something about it?
Because we do not exist.
Unbeknownst to Gabriel, Dracula was not dead. After being slain by the left hand of God, Dracula made a deal with the devil: eternal life, and in exchange he would need to feed on the blood of the living. Dracula was also given the ability to control the elements to some degree, super strength and speed, and control over werewolves and the dwergi, vicious dwarf-like creatures with large milky white eyes and sharp teeth like a piranha. According to Princess Anna, they are quite vicious and industrious. If you get the chance to kill one, you should, because they will do much worse to you. They seem to be quite intelligent. It's not clear where they came from in the movie, but the video game tells us they came from a faraway land. In the movie, they speak Hungarian amongst themselves, and Igor also speaks to them in Hungarian. This could be a clue as to where they're from. It's also not clear if the werewolf curse existed before Dracula made a deal with the devil, but presumably it did. After making a deal and returning from hell, Dracula's father, a Transylvanian knight of the Holy Order named Valerius the Elder, was horrified at the monster his son had become. However, he was unable to bring himself to kill his own son, so instead, using some kind of magic, he was able to imprison Dracula in an icy fortress he couldn't escape from. It could be accessed through this mirror that acts like a doorway. Unfortunately for Valerius the Elder, the devil then gifted Dracula wings so that he could escape his icy prison and torment the world again. Good to know the devil can change the deal and chuck in some wings if you need them. Dracula can now transform into what is known as his hell beast form with wings anytime that he wants. Valerius the Elder then went to Rome and promised God that his family would never rest nor enter heaven until they vanquished Dracula from their land. Valerius knew he was evil, but couldn't kill his own son, similar to Alexander Corvinus from Underworld, so he left instructions of how to find Dracula's lair and kill him so that future generations could finish the task. Valerius the Elder was part of the Holy Order, so it makes sense that his son Dracula was as well. Him and Gabriel probably worked together in the Order. In the Van Helsing video game, the story is that Dracula broke his oath to the Holy Order trying to perform dark magic to resurrect his dead lover. The story for the movie might be slightly different, but I think at least we know Dracula was a member of the Holy Order just like Gabriel, but eventually he did something that forced Gabriel to kill him, possibly performing some kind of dark arts or committing some horrible crime. Considering he went to hell and had an opportunity to make a deal with the devil tells me he did something pretty bad. After 400 years, the Valerius family have not succeeded and they're running out of family. King Boris went missing about a year ago, and his son Prince Valken and daughter Princess Anna are the last remaining descendants. If the two of them are killed before Dracula is vanquished, 9 generations of their family will be trapped in purgatory. The Cardinal is adamant that they cannot let that happen, as the Valerius family has protected their left flank for 4 centuries.
I could never allow him to be used for such evil. I could.
In 1887, Dracula convinces Dr. Frankenstein to find a way to create life. He needs the doctor to solve this mystery because Dracula is undead, and in this universe his undead status means his children are born dead. That's why he needs Frankenstein to give his monster life, so that he can then use that technology to breed an army of vampires. However, Dracula didn't count on the doctor not wanting his science used for evil. The doctor refuses to help Dracula, so he kills him in anger. Frankenstein's monster escapes its bonds and attempts to kill Dracula for killing his father. The monster picks up the doctor and attempts to get away, but a bit of bad timing here. The townspeople have had it with Dracula and his brides and were storming the castle. They chase the monster, carrying Frankenstein's body up a windmill while the townspeople set it on fire. We see Dracula and his brides flying overhead and the windmill collapses with the monster and his creator falling into the fire. With the doctor's creation lost, Dracula was back to square one, and proving that God wasn't the only one that could give life. He continues to try, but with no luck. It seems the machine he has developed needs another living thing in it to work. He was supposed to use Frankenstein's monster, but is forced to try a human instead. He captures his own descendant, King Boris Valerius, and uses him in the experiment, but a human is not sufficient to give lasting life to his children. We don't see the first experiment, but we know his children died soon after coming to life, and we later see the body of Boris confirming what happened to him. He must have died not being able to take the electricity coursing through his body. Boris was probably captured while trying to kill Dracula. The Count now seems fixated on finishing off his family before they finish him. A few months later, we meet Anna and Vulcan Valerius, the children of Boris, trying to capture a mysterious grey werewolf, one that we never see in human form and we never see again because Vulcan pushes his sister out of the way and shoots it with a silver bullet but is knocked off the cliff. Vulcan does say that Dracula unleashed this werewolf, but we're not exactly sure what its goal was. If its goal was to infect one of the Valerius family members with the werewolf curse, then I guess it succeeded. Have you guys ever noticed that when the werewolf is shot, that the blood is green? I always thought that was strange. I don't think we see a werewolf bleed while in wolf form in any other part of the movie. I wonder if there was some reason for this. In the year 1888 is finally when Gabriel and Dracula's paths would cross again. Gabriel is sent to a town in Transylvania to help defeat Dracula. The Cardinal explains the situation to Gabriel that the 9 generations of the Valerius family is close to being trapped in purgatory forever. The Cardinal also reveals that Valerius the Elder left a piece of parchment behind that says, "In the name of God, open this door." And it has the same insignia as his ring, the ring we know that he got from Dracula. But Gabriel has no memories at this time, so this makes him very curious as he's searching for answers to his past. Before they leave for Transylvania, we get a James Bond-esque scene with Carl acting as Q, showing off a bunch of old-school high-tech weapons. He shows off a special grenade made by him that can produce light as bright as the sun. This will come in handy later. He also serves as Gabriel's sidekick for the remainder of the movie.
But I'm not a field man. Van Helsing, I don't want to go to Transylvania.
Upon arrival in the town, they are given a warm welcome. Maybe not. Gabriel also divulges to Carl that if they kill Dracula, anything created by him or bitten by him will also die. They meet one of the descendants of Valerius, Princess Anna. She tells Gabriel they don't need any help when suddenly Dracula's brides attack the town: Verona, Marischka, and Alira. Chaos erupts with all the townspeople running for safety. Gabriel tries to keep the vampires at bay with his semi-automatic crossbow. He hits them a few times but not in the heart. They're too fast. Anna says they're here to kill her, which we already know. The vampires have a great design. They were created using a lot of motion capture and using the real actors' faces, which is why they look so good for a movie in 2004. The CGI in this movie aged surprisingly well. They have sharp fangs, blue skin, and large wings. They are quite strong, able to effortlessly pick up a cow and throw it through a building. The vampires manage to kill at least one civilian that we see, but retreat when the sun comes back out. Gabriel and Anna attempt to look in the well, but as soon as they do, the sun goes behind the clouds and the vampires come back out with a vengeance. Anna is almost captured by Verona, but Gabriel shoots a perfectly placed silver bolt right in her wing, causing her to drop Anna. Anna runs into a building for safety and has a close encounter with Alira. In this scene, her eyes have a pinkish glow just like her clothes. I also love the way their wings turn into their long baggy clothes when they transform. Anna is cornered by Alira and Verona, while outside Gabriel has a showdown with Mariska. We see briefly that her eyes appear as a gold color, so it seems like each of their eyes match their outfits, at least for this scene.
The church!
Gabriel manages to sprint for the church and dip his crossbow into the holy water, making it much more lethal. The vampire instantly panics, trying to fly away, but Gabriel lights her up like the 4th of July, pinning her to the side of a building with a half-dozen crossbow bolts. When staked with holy water, the vampire disintegrated into a skeleton. As soon as this happens, the other 2 vampires that were about to feed on Anna react violently to the death of Mariska, even though they didn't see it, meaning that they must be connected somehow, probably through their vampire curse. Instead of finishing off Anna, they transform and fly back to the castle, screeching and crying for Mariska. Hey, the cow survived. To Gabriel's surprise, the townspeople aren't glad that he killed a vampire. They're pissed off. They tell Gabriel that vampires only kill what they need, 1 or 2 people a month. Now that they have killed one of them, they will be killing for revenge. The town gravedigger asks what name he should carve on the gravestone. This is when Anna steps out of the crowd and says his name is Van Helsing. The town thinks that what he did was bad, but Anna thinks otherwise. She says he's the first person to kill a vampire in over 100 years. I'd say that's earned him a drink. We see Dracula awakening from his icy slumber, yelling the name of his dead bride. He reminds his brides how important it is to finish off Anna Valerius when they are so close. He wants to conduct another experiment, but his wives get very upset, saying they don't know if they can go through that again. Dracula has been trying to give his gargoyle-looking vampire children life, but without the key, the monster, every time he conducts the experiment, his children die shortly after. He needs to find someone or something that can give them permanent life. This is also the first time we see the Dwergi, listening to him give his speech. He tells Igor and the Dwergi to prepare another experiment at Castle Frankenstein. He also sends the werewolf to check out who their new visitor is, aka Van Helsing. It turns out this werewolf is Vulcan Valerius, so he was in fact turned by the grey werewolf that knocked him off the cliff. That night, while searching for Van Helsing, there's a small break in the moon, which made Vulcan turn back into his human form. He used this moment to try and warn his sister and tell her Dracula's secret, but right before he says what it is, the moon is uncovered and he begins to turn. Vulcan climbs up the wall, tearing his skin off and turning back into the wolf. Anna is in shock that her brother is a werewolf, while Gabriel takes off after him, and Carl gives him some silver bullets.
Werewolf! Oh, right, you'll be needing silver bullets. Well done!
The creepy gravedigger tries to kill Van Helsing for some weird reason, but is killed by the werewolf a moment later. Gabriel gets the perfect chance to shoot Vulcan, but Anna arrives and stops him. Gabriel's a little angry that she stopped him from killing a vicious werewolf that will murder countless innocent people, and he also reveals that he knows it's her brother. Not sure how he could possibly know this, other than he put together that Vulcan is no longer here when the Cardinal told him that he should be. Anna says that she hates Dracula more than anything, because he has taken everything from her. But she didn't want to kill Vulcan because it's the last family she has left. Anna says that she has heard that Dracula possibly has a werewolf cure, and if there's a chance, she has to go after him. This is the first we hear of a werewolf cure. Gabriel takes a moment to think and says to have memories of those you loved and lost is perhaps harder than having no memories at all. He's realizing that since he has no memories of loved ones, maybe he can't comprehend what she's going through. So he agrees to help her and they set off towards Castle Frankenstein to find Dracula. On their way there, they find werewolf hair on a tree branch. Anna says that werewolves only shed before their first full moon, before the curse has completely taken them. This means that after their first full moon is complete, the werewolf will be stuck in their mindless wolf form permanently, so Vulcan hasn't been a werewolf long. They continue to try to track down Vulcan, and that leads them to Castle Frankenstein, where Dracula is in the middle of trying to conduct another experiment, this time using Vulcan instead of an ordinary human. Dracula says hopefully with werewolf venom running through his veins that he will be the key. After entering the castle, Gabriel and Anna discover a room full of egg-like sacs, offspring. Hundreds of them hang from the ceiling in fleshy cocoons. These are Dracula's vampire children. The body of Vulcan's father is thrown out of the machine and Vulcan recognizes the necklace. He is then connected to the machine and hoisted to the roof, being struck by lightning. This energy was being sent through the castle to his children, shocking them awake like a defibrillator. The eggs begin to move and Gabriel opens one up to see what they're dealing with. They are gargoyle-looking creatures with large bat-like ears, wings, and a tail. So this is what happens when two vampires mate. I guess you could call this a pureblood vampire. They rush toward the town to feed, and Dracula says, "Pray to the devil that this time they stay alive." Gabriel begins shooting the vampires, causing Dracula to chase him, giving Anna a chance to try and save her brother. Dracula follows Van Helsing and gets a chance to talk to him one-on-one. Van Helsing tries to stake him with a silver stake, but it does nothing. Dracula quickly realizes that Van Helsing does not remember their past and calls him by his true name, Gabriel. He seems to know quite a bit about him. He says, "You are the great Van Helsing, trained by monks and mullahs from Tibet to Istanbul, protected by Rome herself, but hunted by all others." Up until this point, he has only been named as Van Helsing. Dracula reveals that they have a history together. He even knows about Van Helsing's memories of ancient battles. I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but even though Van Helsing has lost all of his memories, he still has a few vague memories of ancient battles, one of those being fighting the Romans in Masada in 73 AD. There seems to be more to Dracula and Gabriel's relationship that we never learn. But before he gets to tell the story, Van Helsing pulls out a silver cross. Dracula grabs it and it ignites into flames as it melts in his hand and he lets out demonic screams. I like how after Dracula just politely says, "Perhaps that's a conversation for another time." Suddenly they are interrupted by the screaming of one of Dracula's wives, and Van Helsing uses the opportunity to get away. Dracula's wives returned because once again, his children died. While attacking the town, they all suddenly began to pop like balloons and explode, horrifying Verona and Illyria. This is why they didn't even want to try the experiment again to begin with. It turns out that Dracula absolutely needs Frankenstein's monster. It's the only way the machine will work. I don't know how he would know that because he's never tried it, but I guess he assumes because the creature was created by Dr. Frankenstein that it must be the key. Gabriel finds Anna, who fought her way through the Dwergi to the top of the castle. She found her brother, but no cure, and he's too far gone. Van Helsing shoots a Batman-style grappling hook across the large chasm to safety. I like how this gun is normal size, but somehow there's like 1,000 feet of rope stored in there. Vulcan then transforms into his werewolf form, escapes his bonds, and tries to follow Gabriel and Anna across the zip line, almost killing them, but they survive. Dracula tells his brides and Vulcan to track down Anna and Gabriel and kill them. Gabriel is a bit surprised that Dracula is immune to stakes to the heart, silver, and crosses. Anna gets angry at Gabriel and says, "What do you think, we haven't tried that before? Through the centuries, my family has tried everything. Silver, stakes, guns, holy water, crosses, nothing works. Nobody knows how to kill Dracula. He's quite literally unkillable with physical force, as shown in the beginning." After escaping the castle, they're at the windmill that was burned down by the town, and they suddenly fall through the floor into a cave-like area underneath. Down there, they find Frankenstein's monster. He's been living down here this whole time. He must have fell down below when the structure originally collapsed. After a small scuffle, Gabriel shoots the monster with some tranquilizer darts, putting him down. Before he passes out, Anna tries to shoot him, but Gabriel stops her. The monster says, "If you value your lives and the lives of your kind, you will kill me, for I am the key to my father's machine." Possibly because he is imbued with technology and is made up of 7 men, he might be the only one that can properly withstand the experiment. He also tells Gabriel that there are more children. The ones that they saw were only the children from one bride, from one birthing. There are thousands and thousands more at the icy castle Dracula. This scene has a really interesting part in it when Anna tries to kill the monster after it passes out from the tranquilizer darts. Gabriel says, "My life is to vanquish evil. I can sense evil. This thing, man, whatever it is, evil may have created it, left its mark on it, but evil does not rule it, so I cannot kill it." Anna says, "I can," and attempts to shoot him, but Gabriel stops her and says, "Not while I'm here." I think this scene shows some more proof of his angelic origins. He has the ability to sense evil. I think that it says a lot that he's willing to protect a monster when he was ready to kill Vulcan in the blink of an eye. But like Gabriel says, evil does not rule him. Back in town, Carl finds something interesting in the tower. He leans on a part of the wall and it opens a secret compartment, revealing a painting with a sort of prophecy on it. It says, "Even a man who is pure in heart and says his prayers at night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the moon is shining bright, or crave another's blood when the sun goes down and his body takes flight." Suddenly the painting comes to life and the 2 men fighting transform into a vampire and werewolf, predicting future events to come. While Gabriel and Anna are in the cave with the monster, the werewolf sees them and escapes. Now Dracula will know of the monster and where they are. Gabriel says if they can get the monster to Rome, he will be safe there. They use Transylvanian horses that are apparently the fastest in the world, even faster than werewolves. Not long after their journey starts, Dracula's brides attack the carriage, but Gabriel planted a trap. There's actually 2 carriages and his is filled with explosives and stakes. He jumps over a broken bridge and the carriage breaks off. The bride Verona chases after it thinking the monster and the key to her children's life is in there. When she opens the door, she sees the stakes and attempts to fly away, but it's no use. Dracula is now down to 1 bride. Gabriel rejoins with the actual carriage and not long after, they are attacked by the werewolf. The monster actually helps Van Helsing during the ordeal and they finally manage to kill Valken. But during the fight, Gabriel is bitten by the wolf. He has become infected. Anna begins backing away in fear and is caught off guard by Dracula's last bride, Illyra. She knocks Anna unconscious and takes her away. Van Helsing arrives in Budapest with Karl and the monster and is approached by Illyra, saying Dracula wants to trade Anna for the monster. Gabriel agrees with no intention of handing over the monster, and Illyra tells them to come to the masquerade ball on All Hallows Eve tomorrow. They shoot the monster with a few tranq darts and hide him in the cemetery. Karl informs Gabriel that he did some research and he won't turn until the first full moon, which is in 2 days. And he will be able to fight Dracula's influence until the final stroke of midnight. As they are leaving the cemetery, Karl asks, "You don't think he can get out of there, can he?" And Gabriel says, "Not without some help from the dead." A moment later, we see a hand come out of a crypt. I'm not sure if these are zombies or vampires, but they must be some evil creature under Dracula's control. At the party, Anna seems to be under some kind of hypnosis of Dracula, dancing around with him, unable to control herself, and he says, "How does it feel to be a puppet on my string?" He also kisses Anna, which is like his great times 10 granddaughter. While they are dancing, they go in front of the mirror, and we see Dracula has no reflection. I've seen this movie so many times, I failed to realize that in this moment, Anna is the only reflection. So this is the first time that we get a hint that this entire ballroom is vampires before they actually reveal themselves. Since he was going to bite Anna, this tells us a bite is how these vampires turn other people, and probably how Dracula turned his wives. Gabriel knocks out a trapeze artist and uses the rope to save Anna, but just as he sweeps her away from Dracula, Igor enters the room with the monster. This makes me think that the hand coming out of the crypt in the cemetery was probably Igor. Everyone in the party reveals themselves to be a vampire, forcing Gabriel, Anna, and Karl to make a quick escape. Karl finally gets to use his special device that has the power of the sun. He leaves it behind in the building and it kills every single vampire. They try to chase down the monster, but Igor gets away on a boat by closing the gate on them. Gabriel then has his first outburst of anger, showing the wolf is starting to take hold. They go back to Castle Frankenstein to find the monster, but they find all the scientific equipment has been moved. They must have taken it to Castle Dracula, but they don't know where that is. The Valerius family has spent 4 centuries trying to find it, and King Boris spent years trying to find it himself, but never succeeded. He would spend hours staring at the map in the Valerius Tower. Gabriel suddenly realizes that this wall literally is the door, but Boris just didn't know how to open it. Lucky for them, the Cardinal gave Van Helsing the missing piece of parchment left behind by Valerius. This piece completes the map, and after Gabriel says what's on the parchment, "In the name of God, open this door," the map suddenly turns into a mirror. Anna says Dracula has no reflection in a mirror, and Karl adds, "Maybe to Dracula, it's not a mirror at all." Gabriel attempts to touch the mirror, but his hand goes right through it, and it feels cold on the other side. They walk through to find Castle Dracula in all its glory. The castle door is closed, but Gabriel grabs a hold of Anna and Karl and jumps about 20 feet in the air 3 times and then back down to the ground again. His transformation is definitely getting a lot closer. He has a moment where his face changes slightly, but he gets himself under control. They walk into the castle and Igor is caught off guard, saying, "How did you find..." It's impossible. He didn't think that anyone else could possibly find Castle Dracula. As they're talking to Igor, they hear the screaming of the monster. He has been frozen in a block of ice or something, and they're hoisting him up to the top of the castle for the experiment. In anger, Gabriel bends the thick iron bars with his bare hands. On the way up, he tells Van Helsing something. There's a cure. Dracula has a cure to remove the curse of the werewolf. So it turns out the legend Anna heard were true. Gabriel can't help but wonder, why would Dracula need a cure? That's when Carl has an epiphany. The painting. That's what it meant. The only thing that can kill him is a werewolf, even though they are under Dracula's control and basically his slaves. If somehow one ever had the willpower to turn against him, he would need a cure to remove the curse before it tried to kill him. Gabriel forces Igor to take Anna and Carl to the cure and tell him where Dracula is. Gabriel also gives Carl the silver stake and tells him that if he isn't cured before the final stroke of midnight, Carl must do it. Castle Dracula is absolutely massive. Look at how big this corridor is and how tall the towers are. The experiment is beginning and Gabriel makes his way to the new laboratory and Igor of course tricks Carl and Anna. As they enter the room with the cure, he pulls a secret lever that drops a gate trapping them inside. The cure is in a special kind of liquid that acts like acid. Alira arrives and Anna fights her off while Carl takes the antidote to Gabriel. I noticed something new in this movie while watching it for the 35th time. For some reason, Alira's mouth looks different in this part than the rest of the movie. Usually, they just open abnormally wide, but this time her mouth is similar to the vampires from Blade 2, having these extra fangs appear and stretch away from the mouth. I also noticed the pink or purple colored eyes again in this scene, where in the ballroom they were all yellow. I wonder if this means that Dracula's brides are unique. It's possible other vampires like the ones at the ball can't take this alternate more vampiric form that the brides have. When Gabriel is making his way to save the monster, he is quite agile now that his transformation is so near. While trying to free the monster from the machine, it is struck by lightning, sending the first bolt through the castle. Dracula says, "One more bolt and my children will live." Dracula sees Gabriel trying to free the monster, and this is the first time in the movie we get to see him take on his full Hellbeast form. Before this, we only ever seen it in the sky or cast as a shadow. Dracula manages to knock Gabriel off the tower. The monster tries to escape, but is struck by the second bolt of lightning, awakening Dracula's thousands of children and sending the monster flying over the edge of the castle. Luckily, he hangs on for dear life and survives, and also accidentally kills Igor at the same time. I like how as he's falling, he never lets go of his taser gun. Alira is about to kill Anna when the monster comes flying through the window just in time. This allows Anna some time to get away, but she ends up finishing Alira with a stake to the heart. Dracula now has no more brides. In the laboratory, Gabriel and Dracula are about to have their final showdown. Dracula says he's too late. His children live. Now Gabriel knows the only way to kill Dracula's thousands of children is to kill him. Because we learned in the beginning, if you kill Dracula, all bitten by him or created by him will also die. At this point, Dracula has no idea that Van Helsing has been infected with the werewolf curse. When midnight strikes, he begins to transform, surprising Dracula. Gabriel wastes no time and attacks. He only has an hour to defeat Dracula and be cured, or he will be lost to the curse and Anna's family will be lost to purgatory. Dracula looks like he's getting the better of the wolf for a bit, but when he tries to fly away, Gabriel quickly jumps into the air to bring him crashing down to the ground. Now Gabriel is beating the crap out of Dracula. He can't fly around in this enclosed space, which is a benefit for the werewolf. Dracula momentarily takes his human form, and for the first time in the movie, we see him bleeding. He can heal from almost anything, except the attacks of a werewolf. Gabriel is about to finish him off when there's a break in the moon. Just some cloud cover can cause these werewolves to temporarily change back into their human form, just like Vulcan did in the beginning. Dracula should just kill Gabriel right now, but instead he tries to plead with him. Dracula says that he wants the continuation of his kind and maybe the return of his ring. This surprises Gabriel because up until this point, he didn't know it was Dracula's ring. Dracula says he can give Gabriel back his life, his memories. But Gabriel says some things are better left forgotten. And just then, the moon comes out and he transforms into the wolf and bites Dracula. The werewolf venom instantly reacts and Dracula's body begins to shrivel up and die, crumbling to nothing. His thousands of children then all explode. Anna reaches Van Helsing just in time, but as she runs towards him, he attacks her. Carl knows what he has to do. He's about to kill Gabriel when he turns around and grabs the stake. You think that Carl's in big trouble, until the camera pans down and you see that Anna stabbed him with the cure. Carl backs up realizing that Anna is dead. Gabriel killed her by mistake when he attacked her. There's even a moment when Gabriel looks sad and confused in his wolf form before he turns back human. Unfortunately, Anna died. But she gets to be with her father and brother, and Dracula was vanquished before she passed, meaning her family will not be condemned to purgatory. Anna is given a warrior's funeral, and Gabriel hears a whisper, and then sees Anna's face in the sky, Lion King style. The clouds open up and we faintly see Anna's family in the sky greeting each other. The clouds close around them, showing they are finally entering heaven now that the promise Valerius made to God over 4 centuries ago is fulfilled. As for Van Helsing and Carl, there's always more monsters to slay. And despite the church telling them to kill the monster, because it's not human, Gabriel refused. And after Carl seen the monster's humanity, he also refused. So the monster was allowed to go free and live his life. That's my video on Van Helsing. This movie will always hold a special place for me. I watched it when I was pretty young, and it's a major reason why I have such an interest in vampires and werewolves today, and I've only grown to appreciate it more. Some things about the story were not fully fleshed out, like why Gabriel killed Dracula in the first place, or why Gabriel lost his memories. But the characters, the sets, the lore, I enjoy it all. It's a fun adventure, and there's nothing wrong with that. I miss movies like this. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I actually covered this movie a long time ago when I first started the channel, but I've been wanting to redo it because it's one of my favorite vampire/werewolf movies, and I've gotten much better at writing, editing, and have a better microphone, so I wanted to really do this movie justice. If you did enjoy, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. It helps out a lot and I really appreciate it. Plus, I'm getting close to 100k, and that's going to be such an awesome milestone to hit. An extra big thanks to my channel members Roderick, Steven556, Owen Wildish, Joseph Roman, Awesome Pea Shooter, Jason Miller, Cyper, and Zothra's Paradox. The extra support you show me really means a lot. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.